Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers. If you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money. So we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now, on with the show.
Hello everyone, welcome to World's Finest, the DC Comics Review. For those of you who don't know me, I am Phil Parrish, and with me is...
Tyler, the one who talks a lot about DC, and just DC.
Yes, for those of you who don't know us, this is a extra, what do I want to say? Extra content for your, not for your buck, you don't pay for this, but... If you subscribe to a DC podcast, you'll get us every week.
Probably more than you really want to, but you know what? That's okay.
Hey, if you subscribe to our podcast, you might like us.
You'll love us.
Yes.
You'll be like, I like these guys. And you know what? That's great, because you can also find us on Twitter, and we can talk more.
Alright, so let's jump into this. Alright, I think if we do the same pattern every week, we'll start with the Batman books, because, let's face it, those are the most popular.
And there's a lot of them.
Yeah, so as you'll hear every week, this is the Bat book section, and this portion is brought to you by Before the Bat, the Gotham podcast, which Tyler and I do with Kelly.
Yeah, we do.
And every podcast we mention, if you don't subscribe to it, these are all on Southgate Media Group, so...
Find them, subscribe, chat us up.
Rate and review.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Alright, let's get into this. Well, alright, well you said you wanted to hit Batman. Batman was last week, so...
Yeah, and I just feel like since we're kicking off this show, that was such a great book. And never mind my dog in the background, because she just decided she's going to scratch herself just now. That was such a big, epic book. I think I've been a fan of, I've really enjoyed Scott Snyder's writing. And of course, anyone who listens to Before the Bat knows that I love his story of the Court of Owls, and I love the death of the family. There's so many great layers to it. So with Endgame and the Joker coming back has been a really powerful story. How have you felt about it, Phil?
Oh, I think it's good, but alright, before we go any further, everyone, spoiler alert, you will hear spoilers, so...
This is going to be spoiler-filled, people.
Yep.
Because that's all we're here to do, is talk and talk.
To the brim. So, but, I don't know, I'm trying to figure out, let me ask you a question, do you think this storyline is real?
You know what, I will say...
If you look back at the first part of Endgame, he says something, was he exposed to, or was he experimenting with some kind of, some of Scarecrow's fear toxin or something?
There was something he was doing like that. I feel, here's my thing. The sidekick he has, who is that? Where did she come from?
She's from Batman Eternal, which we'll get to this week's issue. She's Alfred's daughter. Because
I've lost on Eternal. I started it. I love it. Mm-hmm. I recommend it. I just didn't have the money at the time to keep up with the weekly book. But my thing was, I was expecting it to be more Harper Row, and when I started reading, I was like, who is this character? Mm-hmm. So that clears that up. But my biggest thing, real quick, is where this falls in the Bat timeline. You know, because we took the whole Forever Evil, all that time, the Bat books were 0 year. Mm-hmm. And now we're back to the current time. But is Eternal taking place at the same time, or is this post-Eternal?
That's what I don't know, because I even asked Scott Snyder that on Twitter, and he didn't answer. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know if this storyline is real, because, I mean, look what's happening. All of Batman's, you could say, worst fears are happening. The Justice League was turned against him. Gordon Gordon was injured. The Joker found out who he is.
The Joker is proven to be more of a powerful force.
He seems supernatural. I think
yes.
That's where Snyder seems to be going, is the Joker supernatural.
Because he referenced, Vandal Savage. He read Ra's al Ghul, and then he mentioned the Joker as this kind of presence of the white, what did he say, the white pale man or something that just walks among us. And I'm like, that's really cool. But in true Joker's fashion, I mean, how many origin stories has Joker teased out or led people to believe or whatever? Because no matter what, it's one giant joke to him. So I love the story, and if it proved to be some sort of Batman hallucination, okay, I could actually go with it in this context.
I'm just thinking also that this whole scheme of the Joker's just seems too organized for the Joker. He's pure chaos. It seems like too much of a uniform plan.
It's meticulous.
Yes.
It took him a long time to. Now I'm gonna pull back out my books because we're discussing Batman 38. Is it?
Yes.
I'm horrible sometimes with numbers, but I believe the Joker is back. But is the whole is it in all Batman's mind? Is it? We'll find out, because I thought there's more repercussions. Like if the Joker knows who Batman is, we kind of start to figure out he might after Death of the Family. But wouldn't it be affecting more of the other Bat books? Shouldn't some of the other Bat family be aware of it?
That's what I'm thinking, and it's just. But with the New 52, you never know. Their continuity seems to be all over the place. Plus, I think I saw on Twitter, Scott Snyder. Someone asked Scott Snyder if he was going to put Damian in Batman or anything, and Snyder said no, just because he says for some reason he can't write Damian well.
And see, that's another thing. Is you have all these Bat books like Batman and Robin, Batman, and Batman Eternal going on. And even Justice League, and somehow they're supposed to be happening at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know, because it's just really hard. Because even Batman Eternal, Damian hasn't shown up there either, so it's like, Damian's back. I
kind of took that Eternal's going on, and then once Eternal's over, the Batman books that we're reading now is the fallout of Eternal.
Mm-hmm.
Is kind of how I took it, or is Endgame happening earlier? I don't know. That's just one thing that gets me, is because I read Batman and Robin, where the first issue with Damian back.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting.
So let's skip to the last page of this last issue.
The last page, I literally yelled out loud because after Batman gets this whole speech from a guy who's on drugs, literally, he goes to the one place to find out more history, and it was shocking. And should we tell him, Phil?
He goes to the Court of Owls.
He pleads before the Court of Owls to help him understand. And I was like, holy crap.
That's why I'm just thinking this is fear gas. I don't know.
If I could get to my books right now, I'd start pulling them out, but I'm going to check them later. So that was last week's Batman, which is a great run for anybody looking to get into comic reading or Batman. I suggest starting with the New 52 Scott Snyder Batman, Volume 1, and just love it from there.
Yeah, any of you Gotham fans, if you want to get into the comics, I would start with Scott Snyder.
All right, moving on along, Phil. What's the next Bat book we got?
All right. Well, this week we had Batman Eternal 44 came out. That's the weekly Batman series. Batman's tracking down another piece of this whole there's a big conspiracy going on, and he's been tracking. The Riddler was a part of it. Hutch was a part of it. Now he tracks down Professor Milo, who I don't even think's been in the comics since the 70s.
I don't think so.
They've been bringing back some older characters, I think, in Eternal. I think that was it this issue. The cops had the 10-eyed man, and
it's kind of neat if you think about it, the idea of Eternal.
Yeah.
And then bringing out all these villains of different eras.
And they finally reintroduced Stephanie Brown into the New 52.
Yep, I like that, and this is where they brought back Falcone.
Mm-hmm.
For those who haven't read any of Eternal, it starts off with Falcone. So I feel like that's part of the major play of Eternal.
And then last week, the big Stephanie Brown said she had discovered who was behind the whole thing. I guess she must have thought she saw him meeting with her father, Clue Master. You know who she said was behind the whole thing?
Who?
Bruce Wayne.
Interesting.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna definitely. I think I'm gonna hit up the shop and start catching back up on Eternal.
Yeah. Are they putting this out in trade paperback? Eternal?
Yes. The first volume just came out, and it's a really thick trade. I think I heard it was the first 10 issues. I think because I picked it up, I saw it at the shop, but I didn't get it because I already had like the first 8 or 9 issues or something of Eternal.
Yeah.
But they're putting it out in trade. I just wish they would do it faster.
Yeah. Well, I probably once they take because I think they're gonna. I don't know if they're doing a volume 2. Maybe I think I might have heard, but I think they're at least taking a break when Convergence hits in April.
I think they had stated, and I'll reference this, that they had the end in sight for Eternal.
Yeah.
Because the thing was only supposed to go about a year. So.
Yeah, but it's Batman, and if it's selling,
they'll find a way to continue it. But alright. Keep on moving forward. What else we got?
Next was Detective Comics 39. This, I forget what part of the story this is, but this is the storyline where they're reintroducing Anarchy to the New 52.
I did see that. I'll tell you what, I've liked Detective Comics. They've done some good stuff.
Yeah, I like the artist they have on the art team they have on this. I think they were on the Flash for a while.
Yep. I like that they're creating creative teams and then moving the teams to the different books.
Yeah, I like when they keep the teams.
Instead of just like, writer artists like reshuffle, they're keeping the teams. So that's, I think, paying off for them.
Mm-hmm. And then Grayson #7 came out.
Now tell us about Grayson, Phil, because I was very hesitant. We both are big Nightwing fans. I love Nightwing. I have the whole New 52 volume. I highly recommend that series. And I was not really sold when they decided to do Grayson's Spy. It kind of turned me off. But so.
I mean, the stories are good. The art's good. Dick Grayson is my favorite character, and they teamed him up with a woman, Helena Bertinelli.
Okay.
So yeah, she's not Huntress because
a version. Has Huntress even shown up in the New 52? Yeah.
Yeah,
she did.
But she's Earth 2. She's Batman and Catwoman, Earth 2's daughter.
Helena Wayne.
Yeah.
Or Helena Kyle Wayne or whatever.
Yeah. So Dick Grayson and Helena Bertinelli are just agents of the spy group Spiral. I don't know if they're supposed to be crooked or not. But this issue was pretty good. I mean, they had to stop this terrorist group from they had this cloned brain that was inciting people to violence and stuff, and
that's really creepy.
Yeah. Overall, I like the series, but the one thing that gets me down about it is just makes me sad is, except for Batman, the whole world thinks he's dead. He can't talk to his friends. He can't talk to, Alfred thinks he's dead. Barbara thinks he's dead.
You can't go find, what's her face? Sonia, Zuko.
Yeah,
Brand.
none of them. Well,
nobody knows that he is alive. It is sad.
Although, who knows? Maybe I don't know about right after Convergence, but maybe I think eventually they'll bring Nightwing back.
I bet Alfred knows. He's Alfred.
I don't know. What? Well, Damian's back. Maybe Damian will figure it out.
He's a little smart aleck, isn't he?
Isn't that what he always says? He's like,
yeah. Because, right before Damian died, he really had a moment with Dick. They had that, and they had more of an understanding and mutual respect for each other. So
yeah, right before the New 52, yeah, they were the Batman and Robin team.
So I don't know, he might. So we'll see.
Yeah. All right, let's move along. The next portion of our podcast will be the Flash and Green Arrow section, and this portion is brought to you by the Flash Arrow Power Hour podcast, where once again you can hear me and Tyler, but this time with Zachary Hare.
Oh yeah. And he is a fun guy to chat it up with.
Oh yeah, and I should say this section's also brought to you by the Flashpoint and Queen Consolidated podcast, brought to you by Lilith Hellfire and Kelly, who we do Before the Bat with.
For one giant happy family.
Those two are crazy.
Yes, they are. No, have you been following Flash, Phil?
What? The season 0 series? Because that's what came out this week. Well, I get both, so.
Okay, did Flash 38 come out this week or last week? Yeah, it is today's Friday. So it was last week. All right.
Yeah.
So what happened in season 0?
This was the start of a new arc. We have guest star Felicity Smoke. Barry comes and saves her from being killed by someone sends some unmanned drones to kill her.
Now, who is Phil Hester still drawing that?
No, it's Marcus T.O.
Okay.
Kreisberg's still writing it, but yeah.
That's cool. I read the first issue, and I like it. I think sometimes season 0, it can be kind of rough, I think. Just because, especially with Barry was in his coma, and then, like, the show started, so, like, where's this 0 series? I mean, a 0 thing with Oliver can kind of work, because you have all that island time, or whatever, but I don't know, like, does it tie in well with the show, or not?
Yeah, it ties in. I don't know why they call it season 0, because I mean, it seems to be happening, like, during the first season. He has everyone at Star Labs. Wells, Cisco, Caitlin. It seems like it could take place right now. So.
Okay.
Eddie, Iris, everyone's in it.
So definitely something we should check out.
Yeah, and you can get even further ahead if you because they put it out digitally first. But I like the hard copy. I like to have a hard copy.
Comics are one thing that I do like to have hard copies of. I'm not a fan of, like, I don't mind digital. I just like having my hard copy just to read, keep. And then, like, it's so much easier to be like, hey, whoever you are, friend of mine, like, here, borrow this. I can't say, here, let me log in and you can read my digital comic. Like, It's so much easier to just pass on a book to somebody.
Plus, when that's digital, like for this series, when it's digital, they only give you like a little bit at a time. Like, I think each paper issue, they give you like, I don't know, 3 or 4 chapters of the digital.
Yeah, see, I hate when you buy them in chapters, like the digital. I was reading Kyle Higgins' Batman Beyond, and I loved it, but I hated it was always just digital chapters.
Yeah. And then we get Green Arrow 39 this week.
Which I just read, which was awesome. Now let's talk about this, because I got hesitant when they said they were going to bring in Kreisberg to write it, being that he writes for Arrow the show. I was a little, because Arrow the show started out so much different than like the Green Arrow of the comics, and it's morphed into its own. And then, of course, during Jeff Lemire's run, which was amazing, they brought in Diggle, which was cool, and then they kicked off Kreisberg's with bringing in Felicity. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I was hesitant to at first, but I find myself enjoying it every month now.
I do too. I mean, because they gave Oliver, he had his own kind of pre-Felicity Diggle kind of team. The Green Arrow books have definitely done some great evolution.
Well, I mean, let's face it. I mean, the book was kind of till Jeff Lemire's run in issue 17 started.
Yep. Oh, Dan Jurgens' original volume was great. Like, if you pick up the trade like I did, it was good. The second volume was horrible. I recommend anyone reading Green Arrow just to skip it and go straight to Jeff Lemire's run.
Oh, yes, the one between Jurgens and Lemire.
Yes.
Yes.
It turned, had it not been that I saw the new artwork and with that cover of Oliver like in the rain with the bow pulled,
yes,
I probably would have stopped reading the run because the second volume was just that bad.
Thank you, Jeff Lemire, for saving Green Arrow.
And he did a lot of great things. And so when they launched the Kreisberg run of the Green Arrow, they kind of they kept Oliver's half sister. She's still there.
But she's I don't know. Isn't she traveling now?
Yeah, she's somewhere in the mix. But what I do like is they brought Mia in. So, because I didn't want the book to become like Arrow the show.
Yeah.
I wanted to have my Green Arrow comic and then my Arrow show. I didn't want them to be like the same. So they brought in Mia in a different way. So with this issue, we have the continual Oliver. It starts off, Felicity gets arrested and sent to a Supermax prison.
And gets locked up with a cheetah.
Yeah, that's an interesting pair. Instead of her just going to jail, and Oliver's current girlfriend kind of betrayed him, and she's working for a gangster trying to come up, and his name is... Why is it evading me?
Hold on, I have the issue right here.
I know, like, it's Mia's dad, but it's not Deirdre in this.
I know.
It's
Sea People.
It's something so common. It's on the tip of my tongue. But he was rescued by Oliver years ago, and Oliver didn't kill the guy that was attacking him. So he feels that they need to create a better guardian of Seattle, which I always think it's interesting that this is set in Seattle and we're out of Star City. So that's something different as well. We're in a real city.
Okay, his last name is King.
Yeah, I knew it was something simple like that, and I couldn't remember it.
John King.
So we have John King, whose daughter is Mia, and they've never said her last name. No, they said it. It just his name wasn't the same. That's right.
Yeah.
And he won. But it's interesting because he has this whole army of private security and street thugs or whatever, and they're trying to discredit Oliver. They're trying to bankrupt Oliver, which is always a Green Arrow trope that, you take Oliver's money away and it kind of fuels him more.
Yeah.
So I like that, and I like that in this he goes and he gets in the Supermax prison and they tell him, you have 2 minutes, and he gets Felicity out. But what do you think of that last page, Phil?
The last page. Why am I drawing a blank on the last page? Oh, yeah. When the whole group's there, Batman, Luthor, Katana, Cupid. Would you really trust Cupid, though?
No. But I like that Katana's there and Roy. And I thought Batman being there is a little much, but it works.
Yeah, I didn't know if Luthor would give him the time of day, but at least in this. And I thought him and Roy were like fighting.
Yeah, they're. I would like to see Roy get pulled back into the Green Arrow books because the whole thing would. Go ahead.
That's what. That's what I was hoping, because today, if people saw the news, DC after the Convergence miniseries, they're coming out with a lot of new books. Because I know they said they were canceling Red Hood and the Outlaws, but they're giving Starfire her own book, and then there's just going to be a buddy cop book with Jason Todd and Roy Harper.
That would be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But the in the New 52, the Seed was playing with it. When Roy came along, it kind of caused this rift between Diggle and Ollie, and then eventually there was something that caused the rift between Ollie and Roy. So I'd like to see them start to work on repairing that. But what other books we got, Phil?
All right, let's get to our next section then, the Superman portion, which is brought to you by The Last Daughter of Krypton, the Supergirl podcast. And for those of you who listen to every podcast, and I know there's some of you on Southgate Media Group, you might be saying, what is this show? Well, it's an upcoming show that will be hosted by our very own Tyler.
It will be hosted by me, and I will have... My goal is to have guests, and so you'll be hearing a lot of the other people that you hear on other Southgate Media podcasts. Phil will be on an episode of it at some point, so it'll be cool.
Oh yeah. All right. Let me see. I'll go real quick on the other two Superman books you didn't read yet, but then we'll dive into Superman.
All right, because I feel it's a big book.
Oh yeah. Well, they said just that last page is going to make that people are going to be looking for that book. But Superman, Action Comics 39 came out. It's like the last part of the Smallville story. It's kind of like this demon thing that feeds off people's fears, like crawling its way out. It hid in the Phantom Zone for a while, and it's been like terrorizing the people of Smallville. So like Superman and Steel have to like stop this, I don't know, other dimensional demon thing from.
I like it. I would like
on the town.
I missed the first part when I saw that announced. I thought that looked really cool, and I've just haven't had the chance to get to the beginning. I can't find the first issue of the arc.
It went from like Superman Doomed right into this.
I love Doomed. I love it.
He's been wearing a beard this whole storyline.
I love that. That explains like where like Doom ends so interesting. Because the Superman Doomed, the next thing we got was the Jeff Johns run, so we know that something happened in between then. So I guess the Action Comics helps explain where, because Doomed ends very intriguingly.
Yeah, and then Superman Earth 1 Volume 3 came out.
I know. I want it. Listen. You can talk to him about it later. I haven't bought it because I feel like I'm going to get it for my birthday. Because every time I talk about it, my wife's like, shh.
So you don't want me to spoil it for you?
No, please don't. No.
Okay, I won't. Everyone go out and get it. I'll give you 2 words. General Zod.
I can deal with that. I can just take those 2 words. I'm good.
And the married couple Lex and Alexa Luthor.
I like the Earth 1 series. I highly recommend Volume 1 and 2. I think it's a great modern Superman.
I was reading this new Volume 3 last night. I was almost thinking, you know what? I might actually like this if they made this the main continuity instead of the New 52.
Well, see, I like because with the Earth 1 series is supposed to be more of like it's just that hero. The others supposedly aren't there. They don't take place. But I don't think we're not supposed to see Superman of Earth 1 and Batman of Earth 1 connect. It's supposed to be just more focused on the one hero. I had hoped that when they had rebooted with Man of Steel, I had hoped that maybe they'd take more cues from this run. So I thought it'd be a really unique run to kind of start pulling for a reboot out of.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you don't want to deal with messy continuity and years of history, just get Volume 1, 2, and 3 of Superman Earth 1. And Batman Earth 1 Volume 1, and hopefully we'll get a Volume 2 someday.
Yeah, Volume 2 is set to come out this year, like within the next couple of months. Hold on. I have it saved as a pre-order in my Amazon wish list.
But, yeah, just this Volume... Probably the first 2 volumes too, but I can't remember as much. But Volume 3 of Superman Earth 1, it gave me a kind of a Man of Steel feel, the movie kind of.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you like Man of Steel, definitely pick this book up.
Let's see. Earth 2 is slated to come out in May of Batman.
Cool.
Or Volume 2 of Earth 1.
Very good. Other than, let's get to the big one this week.
All right.
I think doesn't Superman usually come out the last week of the month, so I think this might be a week late.
It is a week late because the next issue actually comes out, I think, the 25th.
Yeah.
Like, there's 2 issues this month because for some reason it didn't come out like it was supposed to. So, no.
All right. So, I like the story. I mean, it's the last part of the Ulysses storyline.
Yeah, was it Men of Tomorrow is what it was being billed as?
Yeah.
I liked it. I didn't love it. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's always great for Johns' writing. I was really excited when Jeff Johns was moving to Superman, but I feel like it just wasn't what I was hoping for.
Yeah, and we got John Romita Jr. on art on Superman.
Nothing against his art, because I think his art works great in other series and original material. I just was not a fan of this in Superman.
That's kind of funny you say that, because I think most of his career he's been identified as a Marvel artist, and you're so DC. Maybe. Well, I mean, he draw more of in a Marvel style.
I mean, I've read all his work on Kick-Ass, and I think it's great in that, but just his style to me, like the way he did Superman and everything, I just am not a huge fan of it.
Yeah, because he's more well known for like Spider-Man and stuff, and the 2 totally different characters.
Exactly.
But yeah, we got into that storyline, and then they were talking about I thought they were saying he's gonna have all these new powers, but he just has the one power, which is kind of an offshoot of one of his old powers. Yeah, it was just basically the idea that his heat vision comes from him inside, and that he pushed himself to the limit that he just released like a solar flare. Yeah, and like drained all the solar energy out of him. So, I mean, it wasn't that big of a stretch. I mean, going into this, they were like, new power, new suit. And I was like, oh gosh, I do not want to see like the new electric Superman or something. I know, that's what I was afraid they were going to do. And then they revealed a new suit, and I'm just kind of like, it's not that much different than the old suit. I mean, the belt's a little different. I mean, the boots are tweaked to look more like the movie. The belt's a little different. The hand gloves are a little different, and the way the cape attaches is a little different. Yeah, I think it's supposed to look more cloth instead of armor. Yeah, it does. It looks more like cloth than it does armor. And I want to see some of the other artists draw it, because we're just getting Romana's drawing of it. I'd like to see, we've had other artists draw throughout the New 52, the Superman suit, so we get an idea of it. I'd like to see like Jim Lee draw what the new suit looks like. Because I think that was the one. Don't you think that was like one of the main criticisms of this New 52 suit, that they're like, why does Superman need armor? Yeah, I mean, people
They said he doesn't need armor, but if you look at how the suit is, the fact that it was like he got it from Brainiac. It molded to his DNA to be the house. It was like he had the symbols like a patch on his chest, and then the armor comes out from that.
Yeah.
So it's not like a suit he wears under, like cloth. I thought that was kind of cool because, it gave Clark more of that mobility of not having to have that Superman costume under his clothes, and especially with the cape. Like trying to hide that cape, but having it kind of almost come off kind of biomechanic was really neat. So I liked the suit. I really liked the look of the New 52 suit. And this one's not bad. I'm not against it. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But that last page reveal.
Well, the next to last page, yes, for those of you who haven't read it, spoiler alert, this is why you want to get this issue. Clark Kent reveals his identity to Jimmy Olsen.
And I'm completely cool with that.
I guess, but I'm one of those people. I miss the marriage to Lois. I miss that he has Lois to confide in, not Jimmy.
It's a new way of approaching. I feel like, we have this. I mean, in this book, he's back to working at the Daily Planet now.
Yeah.
So that's good. It brings it home. I really enjoy that he told Jimmy. It gives him someone to like a friend around the area. It builds his just relationships, and eventually I think he'll tell Lois. I think they're getting back to it. Like him and Lois have had a unique way about things.
Yeah, but I think they have I was gonna say DC, but I think Marvel and DC, they have like a policy now. They don't let their major characters get married.
Well, yeah, they're married. They don't, but things change.
I don't understand. I think they seem to think like that ages their characters, but I'm like, why? I'm like, 18-year-old kids can get married.
Yeah, I don't think why not. I mean, what's crazy is like you think about the New 52 launched in 2011, so it's almost 4 years old. Like it'll be 4 years old in October. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's been around for a little while to build some story and build its own footing.
Oh yeah.
But I definitely recommend picking that up if you're a Superman fan. I actually got the last issue they had at the shop that I was at. So I lucked out.
But yeah, no, the actual last page is a hooded figure who's has like watching Superman and Ulysses fight on the screen, and then he says, "Oh, Clark, I'm so proud."
Yeah, I'm interested to see who that's going to be. The next issue is actually written and drawn by Ramada, so I'm kind of like, huh. But I'm a Superman fan, so I'll hang in there.
Yeah. All right. All right, let's get to the last couple books. Which this last portion of the of World's Finest, where it will be the books that don't fit into any of the previous categories. So this portion is brought to you by Channel 52, the DC podcast, hosted by Lilith Hellfire and Tyler.
And Charlie.
And Charlie.
So, all right, what books we got on that, Phil?
All right, Green Lantern 39. The last issue or two, it's just kind of been clean up after the big storyline they had where the Green Lanterns were like facing off with the New Gods because Highfather wanted a ring from every spectrum so he'd have power to like defeat Darkseid.
Because they are building up to I saw the Darkseid War.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. I mean, I stopped reading Green Lantern when Jeff Johns ended his run. I tried reading afterward, but it wasn't holding me. But I'm actually more intrigued now. I think they found their footing again.
Yeah, but after the Johns run, like after they killed off the evil Guardians and they brought out those old Guardians.
Oh yeah, the Manhunter you said the Guardians.
They're like ancient Guardians, yeah. Like they put Hal Jordan in charge of the entire Green Lantern Corps.
Is that smart? I mean, Hal Jordan, cocky.
Well, they even say this issue, like, they're like, well, they say he's been doing a good job, but they're like, some of your ways are very unorthodox. Like the Green Lantern energy, they were, like, all the ring energies were, like, they were kind of ineffective against the New God, so yeah, Hal Jordan went the Black Hand. He's like, we need your Black Ring. So he was, like, Black Hand was, like, raising the dead to fight the New Gods. He was, like, tearing dead gods off the Source Wall to attack the New Gods.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's just, there's some storylines you just scratch your head like, wow, that's awesome, but at the same time, crazy. But cool.
Yeah. So, Yeah, Green Lantern's good. Pick it up. I know in the next couple months I know Green Lantern Corps and Green Lantern New Guardians is getting canceled, going into Convergence. But then I think I saw today they're coming out with a second book, Green Lantern, was it Lost Army or something?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, pick up Green Lantern. It's good. And then the next one is Earth 2. I haven't been picking up. They have Earth 2 World's End. I haven't been picking up that weekly book because again, there's a million books. But Earth 2, this was like a Dr. Fate book. They were going into Dr. Fate. He was on Apocalypse and like who was it? Some of Apocalypse's Darkseid's henchmen were trying to steal the helmet of Fate. But they couldn't contain it. So.
I think I'm about to get into Earth 2 just because I'm wanting some more to read and I'm all caught up on a lot of things as much as I can. But I like to always get the trades from the library.
Yeah. I'll have to find the number and tell you later. It was either I don't think it was last month. It might have been. It was either last month or the month before. There was like a standalone Earth 2. Well, it was part of Earth 2, but it was like a standalone story, and it was like Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon of Earth 2.
That's cool.
They were married.
I like the idea of Earth 2 so they can do things that they can't do. And it can be in continuity but out of continuity at the same time. So they can do a lot of things that they can't do. And so that's the closest thing we have right now to Elseworld besides the Earth ones.
Yeah. Well, in the Future's End weekly series that's set like 5 years in the future, I don't know, I guess Darkseid must have like decimated Earth 2, so like most of Earth 2, everyone who survived Earth 2 is like on Earth 1 now.
Interesting.
5 years in the future. But speaking of Future's End, that's the last book I got this week.
And what is the end of Future's End?
Future's End 40. Well, Superman's kind of been in exile, but it seems now that Brainiac's approaching Earth, he's back, and you'll never guess who gave Superman a pep talk and got him back in the game.
Who?
that eternal optimist, John Constantine.
Yeah, there's some that doesn't. The eternal optimist. I like your word there, Phil. For everyone who's not familiar with the character, as they should be familiar with it, I mean, with his TV show and.
Bring our show back, season 2.
Yeah, and they're working on it. I know that. There's all kinds of fan fave for it.
But the whole premise of Earth 2 was like the whole world was taken over by Brother Eye, and I don't know if there was some Brainiac thrown in there. So Terry McGinnis traveled back in time. He was supposed to. Well, first it was supposed to be old Bruce Wayne was supposed to travel back in time, but then he kind of got killed.
Doesn't this sound like DC's like, hey, we like that X-Men Days of Future Past thing. Let's do our own.
Yeah, but I think this whole thing is leading into Convergence.
It would make sense. I mean, because in the post-Convergence, there's going to be a Batman Beyond title. I've already stated.
Oh yeah, did you see that too? Because it has to deal with events in Future's End. I don't know if like Terry McGinnis is going to get killed, but they're kind of hinting at the Tim Drake of 5 years from now might be the new Batman Beyond, and he might travel to the present day.
Let's find out.
Tim Drake's running around.
Let's find out. I just feel like
crazy. I
think Terry McGinnis is a great character that we need to have more of. But
yeah, I was like, why don't you bring Terry McGinnis back to the present day?
I definitely liked Terry.
Yeah, but that's all the books I got this week.
That's the books that we got for this week. And if there's any other books you guys want to discuss, I mean, maybe every now and then Phil and I might discuss, like we talked a little bit about the Earth 1 Superman, but maybe like just a trade or an Elseworld novel or something we might bring up. So if you have any other thoughts or concerns, give us a shout.
Anything you want us to review or give us some recommendations, but you can get a hold of me. You can email me nightwingpdp@gmail.com, and on Twitter I'm @nightwingpdp.
And I'm on Twitter @JTYPatrick. So hit us up.
Yeah, we should have some social media. We'll have some social media coming up, Facebook, Twitter, so just stay tuned. Well, is that it for this week?
It is this week. It for this week.
And it's the world's finest podcast, so.
World's finest.
I'm Batman, you're Superman.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. Signing off, this is Tyler, and that's Phil, the Batman to my Superman. So we'll be having a good time.
And we'll talk to you next week, everyone.